And lastly, this lab, bro, what? I thought this like as I was prepping for the show. UC Berkeley off-campus student housing bans white people from common areas. I mean, it's off-campus housing. They can do whatever they want because they're not associated with the school. It's a private business. I know that gets fishy sometimes, but let's read. POC house guest rules. House members and rules should always be respected by all guests. Make sure your guests understand our house values and uphold the theme of the house as you're responsible for their behavior. Many people of color, member, many POC members moved here to be able to avoid white violence and presence. To respect their decisions of avoidance if you bring white guests. So people of color, okay. This place was built to be a safe place, or meant to be a safe place. Get away from the whites. Got it. Oh boy. I accidentally clicked out of it. So we're back here. Okay. Guest limit and math. Guest limit per house member is 5 guests. All guests must wear masks in common spaces. Always announce guests in the guest chat if they will be in common spaces with you and if they are white. Guests are allowed in common spaces, but please be mindful if there are house members in the room beforehand. White guests are not allowed in common spaces. See intro. Do not leave guests alone in common spaces to avoid house members assuming it's a stranger and alerting the house chat. Avoid bringing parent/family members that express bigotry. Queer, Black, and Indigenous members should not have to avoid common spaces because of homophobic or racist parent/family members. Be conscious of the amount of noise you and your guests are making in the common spaces or in your room. Our house walls are very thin and we have quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. on weekdays, 1 a.m. to 10 a.m. on weekends.
Let's just go ahead.
Well, let me tell you what, I don't even want to hear anybody else's commentary on that because that is a bunch of racist bullshit. Everything that safe space is trying to create, bro, what? You're not a safe space anymore. You are creating these parameters based on assumptions that exist from your lack of exposure of people who are different from you and think different from you. Now, this idea that we always have to put our beliefs on our chest. I walk around like I got an S on my chest. Yeah. The thing about Superman was, right, Clark Kent went to work every day and he wore a suit and he had a Superman suit up under his suit, which is where most of our beliefs should lie. Underneath our suit, because we should be able to function as a people, go out, have a conversation, hang out in a common area. For God's sake, who can't hang out in a common area without having a conversation about their personal beliefs? Let's just talk about the weather. Let's talk about what we're doing this weekend. Let's talk about, happy our family's here. Every conversation doesn't have to be that deep. You can, let's just tell the truth here, right? Let's tell the truth. People lie. Let's tell the truth. We don't always have to express our truths. And that doesn't mean we're not telling the truth. It means that I don't have to give my political thoughts on this. I don't have to give my thoughts on the LGBTQ plus community. I don't have to give my thoughts on race relations, right? I don't have to give my thoughts on male-female dynamics in this country right now. I don't have to do that. I don't have to volunteer that. And guess what? We can be truthful. We can have a great conversation and none of that stuff comes up. Instead of trying to ban people, why don't you embrace those people who think differently from you and actually educate them? Because when you avoid them, they're never going to change. Because when you say, hey, you can't come here because you're this way, they're never going to look to the way you think. They're never going to try to embrace you. And I understand with it being a home, you want to create a safe space for people in their home. But call me Hoppin' Bob, call me Uncle Ruckus, call me Uncle Tom. But the shit that y'all doing right there, that doesn't address the problem. That doesn't solve the problem. I think it's bullshit. I think it's stupid. Like, what are you doing here? Come on, man. Like, bro, what?